chop saw and my cable saw.
How's everyone today? So, you can see what we're going to be doing today. Just from the beginning of the video, we've got a 3.5-inch Rock Krawler lift that's going to be going on. And as well, he's got flip drag link, new tie rod, extended brake lines to go on, new drive shaft to go on, and it's going to be a sexy Jeep once we're done. But you can see here now, it's going to be great. So we're going to get going. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the ends off, all these pieces here. We're going to get anti-seize on the end of this stuff, so that when he goes to do any adjustments, and you can see, beefy as hell, man. Ooh. So these pieces are called Yeti. That's basically his flip drag link, as well as his tie rod. All the other pieces obviously are, you can see, a Rock Krawler, except for his drive shaft, which I'm not sure. Oh, it's an Adams drive shaft, so we'll get that out and take a look at it eventually as well. But yeah, it's all packaged up inside there. So anyway, let's get started on this. We've also got a time lapse going, so we'll have that up as well. But so it's a good idea when you're doing any of this stuff, putting a new lift on and whatnot, is to get the old anti-seize out and just do everything that has an adjustment to it. We've done this already to pretty much everything. This is the XFactor Rock Krawler lift. It's a 3.5-inch XFactor lift. So, but you can see there's the gunk. There's lots in there anyway, but yeah, just make sure that you get everything anti-seize so that you just don't have any problems down the road for any adjustments. So if you ever have to get your wheel alignment done and stuff like that, everything is able to be adjusted. Nothing gets broken, things of that sort. And another thing, these jam nuts have to be tight. I think these jam nuts are somewhere in the range, or what they have to be tightened down to is 260 foot-pounds. So as Rock Krawler says, put your big panties on and get at it. So anyway, we'll get this thing going here and show you once we get. These are the new Rock Krawler shocks. These shafts, absolutely huge. They are fully rebuildable. You can add the reservoirs to them as well, just right here. They are sexy. Plain and simple. They're pretty nice. But we've got everything all greased up. We've got our you can see our springs out now and stuff, and everything is all anti-seize. What we're doing, we just got to get everything straight here, because when we do our measurements, everything has to be straight so that you've got the proper length of all these control arms. We're getting the Zerks in. So typically you wouldn't want to grease these before you put them in, but because we have everything straight here, we grease these up. That'll actually hold those in place so they don't move around. So we're going to do all that right now before we get that stuff in. Okay, so what we've got done here now, we're just getting the front shocks out. You can see Rob's doing it the hard way. We have an impact to use, and he doesn't seem to want to use it. So anyway, we'll just keep going on this. We got the top bolt on here. We've got this one off, and we'll get the impact on this one here. We'll get this going. We got the sway bar disconnects just dropped out of the way, so they're out of the way and whatnot. But let's keep going on this so you can see what we've got done here. What we have out, we've taken the springs out, as you can see, taken the shocks out. Oh, that's got to come out of there. Taken the shocks out, and we've taken the control arms out as well. So we've got both the upper and lower control arms out. You just got to be cautious. Well, I guess nothing to be cautious about. You got to take this heat shield off of the upper control arms to get everything undone. But we've got this done here. We'll get the upper and lower control arms put in, and we'll get everything going from there. So everything's going pretty good so far. Rob will be very happy with his lift once he's done. Dwayne, he's not doing a whole lot. He's just walking around pretending that he's working this time.
And basically.
Yeah, so he's just being an ass right now. Anyway, so it's all going really well. Smooth as can be, and we'll once we get a little bit further, once we get the front control arms on, we'll give you a nice look at those. We've got the upper and lower control arm on here now. Get everything all bolted up. Basically, all we're doing now is getting a hole put in so we can get the bump stops bolted in on the perch for the spring, and then we're actually going to be putting in the front shocks here now. We are moving right along here. What we have got done now is the front shocks are mounted. They're not tightened up. We've got all the control arms in the front, both the driver's and passenger side, as you can see there. And we also have gotten this center shaft brace and drag link brace. And what we're doing now basically is we just have to tighten up. We got to torque everything up. Torque everything up so that it's all proper. Synergy does have a specific way to do all the torques, and then there's a specific order to have all this done as well. So that's what we're going to be doing now. Definitely check all the torque specifications as well before you do any of this. They do have to be properly torqued, just so that everything is working properly and it's all secure enough. But yeah, so everything is looking good. You know, once we get all this stuff here done in the front, I think the back is going to be quite a bit faster. So as you can see here, we got the Synergy track bar and sector shaft brace all put in place. Actually, it's really easy to put in. I would suggest this, anybody who's thinking about it. I know it does say on their website you can't use, you can only use the Synergy pieces. From what I understand, you can use whatever track bar that you do want to use. I know Mike or Rob here, he's got a Yeti one. So anyway, should be okay on that. But what we're doing now is we've got you can see it right there. There's the other Synergy brace that's going to go on basically right here. So Rob and Mike are getting this front brace on.
Just the nuts.
And you can see there, they're just getting the U-bolts on and whatnot. And the brace itself is essentially on. As you can see there.
No, there isn't.
But
Dwayne
and I are going to get working on the back here. We've got to get get everything apart. We've got to lower the axle down. We got the rear shocks out of here. We got to get the track bar off, the springs out, because we got a track bar brace to put on the back here. New springs, new shocks, bump stops, control arms front and rear as well, or upper and lower as well here on the rear. You can see, these fucking idiots, and this is going on the fucking video, you bunch of dicks. So you can see we've got the drag link and the tie rod in here. Track bar brace is all in there as well. It's all installed. You can see over there, they're getting the other shock. This shock, the top of the shock is in now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get the bump stop, get it put inside the spring itself. Then we're going to get that put in, get that tightened down, and then we're going to get the shock in place. Do the same thing on the other side. We've got to extend, he's got JKS sway bar disconnects, and we've got to extend those to fit this. He did get a set of Rock Krawler disconnects, but I'm not going to be using those. That's right here. We're going to put those in the rear, but we won't be using those in the front. just because the JKS ones he likes a little bit better. They come right apart, you can put them away, where the Rock Krawler ones you have to tie up. We've got to get another drill, or another hole drilled. This hole that's there, sorry, this hole, that is there. That is the hole that's going to be on top of there. So we've got to drill that out. We're just going to wait for those guys to get some things done. We're going to lower this down, and then we're going to get a drill on there to get a hole through there. Got upper and lower rear control arms are now on. We're just getting the extended bump stops for the rear end. That'll get done. Rear track bar is completed now as well. Our track bar brace, and then over here we got the relocated track bar. That's all in place there as well. The hole got drilled. Bump stops in. We just have the coils and the shocks, I guess, I think is all we have left. That and the sway bar ends. We got to tighten everything up in the back here. The front's all tightened up, so we just got to tighten up everything in the back, and we're good to go. It's a new day. Yesterday we spent all day getting the Jeep as far as we've gotten it so far. Basically the whole front end pretty much done. Just the track bar has to be put in place, but shocks, coils, bump stops, upper lower control arms, tie rod, drag link, sway bar disconnects, that's pretty much done. Steering stabilizer still has yet to be put on. You can see in there, that's just loose on there. We still have to tighten up the tie rod. Drag link I believe is tight. We'll check that though. Arms, we know the bolts on the ends of the control arms are tight, but we've got to get those jam nuts tightened up. And this is one thing that we know we can't get the proper torque specs with just what the tools we have. That's why this Jeep is actually going to be going in on Monday. Today is a Saturday. The Jeep's going to be going in on Monday to get everything tightened up, front end alignment done, rear alignment done, as far as the the arms are concerned. And you can see there we do have actually the rear arms, all the jam nuts are tight as what we can get them. Bolts are all tight on the ends of the arms, and then you can see on this side here we still yet have got to put the springs in and the shocks on and the rear track bar. One thing we have yet to do as well, as you can see there, the sway bar is taken out. What we have to do is see where the factory setting is here. We've actually got to move that back 1 inch. So it's going to be located, one bolt there, one bolt right about here. Rock Krawler gives you self-tapping screws. We just have to get the hole drilled big enough, and then the self-tappers will take care of the rest. That's just because of the X Factor, because it it pushes the rear axle back 1 inch, and also it pushes the front axle ahead 1 inch. So everything that they've got here is taken into account as far as the adjustments and so that your driveline angles are good, proper, pretty much as straight as you can get them, things of that sort. But we're just going to get going on this. We're going to kind of go through just making sure everything's tight and whatnot. We've cleaned up our tools and everything, so we're just going to get going on this. And what we're doing right now is we're measuring back 1 inch, and we're going to get these holes drilled. And this is just to relocate the rear factory sway bar. And that's due to the fact that it's an X Factor lift. So we just have to center these out. We're going to get them punched here now, and then we'll get these things drilled. We've got a brand new drill bit to do it. 5/16 drill bit, I believe, is what it is. It's needed to drill this out. And then we got some self-tapping screws. So we have gotten our holes drilled. There's 2 of them. This is the bolt here that's actually got to go in. It's a self-tapper, as you can see on the end. So that's going to be basically going straight into there. We'll get the sway bar up. We did step the holes. We drilled one, basically half the size of what it's required, the 5/16, half of that. Drilled it in, and then we finished it out with that. Make sure your drill bits are good and sharp. You got 2 layers of metal there. Yeah, it took us about a half an hour to do all 4, measure them out properly, make sure that they were good and straight and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so we got rear sway bar is now, it's all on. These bolts here, as per the Rock Krawler instructions, 25 to 30 foot-pounds, but everything, it tightened up really good. Everything lined up, and that just goes with measure twice, cut once, or drill once. But as you can see, everything fits here nice and tight. As you can see, we've got the springs in, shocks are in. We've got that done on both sides, got the sway bar in, but we just got to put the end links in. So we are essentially completed. It's a matter of just the track bars, sway bar ends. We've got a little bit of a list over here as well, so you'll be able to take a look at that. So front steering stabilizer, we just got to adjust the steering. That's pretty much been done now. You can see what we've done here. Track bars both front and rear. Front drive shaft, that's got to be done yet, but that'll be probably a separate video. And then rear sway bar links, like I said, tires, and we got to bleed the brakes. So we are, and one more thing. Oh, and the exhaust spacers. So, and that's just due to the fact with the new, this is a 2015 Willys, just due to that, and the angles that you'll have on the drive shaft and whatnot. And it's going to come in contact when flexing with the cross member. They say it's a transmission skid. It's just a cross member piece, basically. Anyway, so what we'll do is, I mean, we're essentially done at this point. Just a matter of getting some of those other things on there. What we'll do is we'll just have a shot of the Jeep once it's completed, sitting on its tires. And yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed everything. It's going to sit really nice. This is an overland rig. This is not, it's not really, I mean, it is an off-road rig, but it's not going to be like a Moab go-at-it rig. Some of you may just see the sliders or the rails that he's got. You know, he said eventually he'll probably get some LOD sliders to put on there and things of that sort. But this is a very well put together overlanding rig. 3.5 inch X Factor Rock Krawler lift. He's got JKS sway bars in the front. He's got a Yeti tie rod and drag link Rock Krawler Rock Krawler track bars, both front and rear. And yeah, the shocks, arms, everything, just beautiful. And this has been done in the D-Dub garage. So basically, I did a video not too long ago when we gave D-Dub that sign. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed everything. If you have any questions about this at all, just let me know. I'm not sure if Rob has got a YouTube channel, but if he does, I will link that below as well. Okay, thanks for watching.
So basically what we're doing here is taking off the drive shaft, front drive shaft. Rob's pulling off the 8mm bolts. I think there's about 10 of them, maybe 8 or 10. Anyway, we're going to pull that off. We're going to put on a new drive shaft, and at the same time we'll be taking off the exhaust here and on the other side and putting in some spacers, and that'll accommodate for the 3.5 inch lift. It'll pull things away from hitting anything like the cross member or that sort. And the new drive shaft is a little bit more slimline, so it won't hit the exhaust or hit any of the bars as well. Okay, so just finishing this video up for Steve. He's out at work and we're here wrenching away. We just finished up Rob's Jeep. We've got Rock Krawler X Factor 3.5-inch stage 1 lift. You can see it looks really nice with the bushwhacker flares on it. Just give you a rundown of the parts we put into it. You can see here we've got a Synergy track bar, front track bar relocation bracket. And then on the other side, we've got the sector shaft brace, Synergy again. We got a Yeti tie rod. You can see this thing is nice and beefy. So a Yeti tie rod and Yeti drag link in the front. Going around to the back, you can see here also this Rock Krawler kit being the stage 1. It also comes with a track bar for the back, so you're replacing the stock track bar. With the Rock Krawler X Factor, we've got these nice Prodigy Rock Krawler shocks. We just took it for a test drive on the highway, and man, does it ever feel nice. And then I'll give you a little tour underneath as well. So underneath here, we've got an Adams drive shaft for the front. We replaced that. And we've also got the spacers for the exhaust. Now, with the spacers, what that does is pushes your exhaust back and down a little bit so that your drive shaft doesn't hit. But if you notice here on the automatic, we've got this bar that comes in the front. We actually had contact here, so what we did is we put about 4 washers in here, created some space here so there was no rattle, and that bolt is certainly long enough for that. So everything's all tied up, nice and neat, nice smooth ride. Test drive was good, and Rob is happy. So this is certainly a lift that I had a Rock Krawler lift on my Jeep. They've upgraded some components. Bushings are new in the frame side when you're looking at the control arms. They've eliminated the rubber bushing, so it's really nice. Super impressed with the lift. It was fun. Took us a couple of days with a little bit of break here and there in between, so hope Rob's happy with it. We had a good time. See you later.